Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Time with PIAC. Today's session is themed Online Town Hall Meeting, and I'm your host, Jessica Echampong. Today's Town Hall is part of PIAC's ongoing efforts to engage citizens on how Ghana's petroleum revenues are being managed and used. We'll spend some time learning about key highlights from PIAC's work and petroleum revenue management in Ghana. More importantly, we will also give you the chance to contribute to the discussion. So you can send in your questions and your comments as the discussion progresses, and we will respond to them. We'll get to the conversation shortly, and I'll now introduce my guest. So joining me today is Mr. Samuel Bekwe. He's a PIAC member representing think tanks, and I also have Mr. Mark Oyeajuman, and he's the head of the technical department at PIAC. Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon, and you're welcome to Time with PIAC.
Hello. Good afternoon.
So basically, it's a town hall meeting, so we would try to, as much as possible, get to respond to the questions and then the feedback from our online participants. But before we get into that, I'll just want to take some introductory comments from you, and then we'll also get into the session where we would respond to the questions that we have received over the last week. So we start off with, I'll start with Sami. PIAC, when we talk about PIAC, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee. It's been quite innovative for Ghana to the extent that sometimes we don't know whether to say PIAC is a government body or is a citizens body. But generally, the understanding of PIAC is that it is a citizens committee. It is unique in its way because PIAC is set up or established under the law, which is the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, under Section 51 of the law. And what it does is set up this committee, and it constitutes or the composition of PIAC is made up of the citizens through different organizations or societies. So you could see that we have representation from wide range of different bodies, starting from think tanks, as I'm part of representing think tanks, to chiefs, to queen mothers, to journalists, to church, to Muslim groups, and others. Our mandate, the clear mandate that PIAC has under the law, is to play an oversight responsibility over Ghana's petroleum revenues. And Ghana's petroleum revenues, we're talking about in terms of how much we receive from the petroleum revenues. They are playing their role. Whatever the law requires each institution to do, PIAC oversee that institution has done that. And at the same time, they have the citizens also, we engage the citizens. But the three core mandates that we have for PIAC is first to ensure that every requirement under the Act is implemented. So we look at that oversight responsibility to ensure every requirement under the Act that requires institutions and citizens is implemented. Number two, we are supposed to create a platform for citizens to engage on the petroleum revenue related matters. And number three, we have an independent oversight responsibility whereby we conduct an assessment of how the petroleum revenues have been utilized, particularly over a period. These are the three key mandates of PIAC. And I would end here for citizens to, muse on this.
So, Mark, I would want you to tell us, Sami mentioned your three mandates. So this particular engagement with the public, I think, is in line with mandate 2. So what has the committee been doing when it comes to mandate 2 before we decided to have this town hall meeting online?
Thank you, Jessica. It's good to be here. This is it's always quite an honor to give the depth section of the NC.
As my boss rightly said, mandate 2 actually is in two folds. The very first one is a direct requirement, which is hold not less than 2 regional public engagements. So you provide, after you launch the reports. So that is the very first fold of mandate 2. Then PIAC, in its own wisdom, since 2011, especially since 2016, decided to have a second fold to mandate 2, which is subnational level engagement. What this means particularly is that we go down to the district level, the towns, the villages, the communities, and then engage them. We update them on what governments have used the petroleum revenue for. And as Sami clearly stated, the resource belongs to the citizens of Ghana. It's just being held in trust by the president. And then the president delegated some of his functions or her function to the Minister for Energy and Minister for Finance to be in charge of that. So we present some of these things to them. Okay, in the year, this was the production level. This how much we produce. This our share of production. When we took our share to the market, this how much we sold it for, and then this is the resultant revenue that we got. Then this is how the revenue was shared based on prescribed provisions in the law. Then how much went into the budget to be directly expended by the government. Then how much came to the communities and what they were used for. So that's basically what the second mandate actually stands for. Yeah.
So, I mean, is it very important to engage citizens? I mean, you are done with your work, you present a report to Parliament and the presidency because, I mean, as it were, they are at the top that can actually implement your recommendations and all of that. So how does the citizens' bits come in?
Thank you. It's quite important because, as mentioned by Mark, in Ghana, the ownership of resources is for all citizens of Ghana. Every resource found on land, in the sea, under the sea, in rivers, in forests, is expected or defined as a resource for all Ghanaians. And I'll give an example. For viewers who live in some of the forest areas, you would note that even when you have a tree in your farm beyond certain size and you try to cut that tree, you can get Forestry Commission coming to you to stop you from cutting the tree. The reason being, all natural resources is defined to be for all Ghanaians and not just you. Similarly, the oil resource that was found is for all Ghanaians. And at the same time, because it is for all Ghanaians, it means the true owners of the resources are Ghanaians. And in a layman's term, it is the Ghanaians that have employed the duty bearers to oversee those resources on their behalf. And so, yes, it is important for you to go back to the owners of the resources. If it was in business, you would have gone to the shareholders of the business and account to them every time and engage them. And under democracy that we have adopted as Ghana, as one of the most peaceful in the region, because of the democracy we've adopted, citizen and the ownership definition of these resources, it is always important for you to go back to the real owners of the resources. And in going back, what you do is that you account to them. How did I use your money that came from your resources? Did I expend it in a more efficient and responsible manner? What do you think we could do going forward to improve the utilization of your own resources or the monies that come from your resources. And then if we get that, then the main thing it would be the project that we have selected. Is it inuring to your benefit? Is it ensuring that it has improved your well-being? If you have something and you manage it well, it benefits you. So it is always important to engage the citizens. And so one thing I have been quite excited about, particularly with the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, is the recent diverse ways of engaging citizens. What we are doing now is one of the ways to reach out to all Ghanaians. There have been the physical aspect as well, as Mark mentioned, going to the communities, going to them, inspecting projects and meeting them one-on-one physically. And then there have been multiple options or multiple engagement approaches also online, aside the regional and national level engagement. So I would say that we always want to hear from our citizens. We always want to hear from the owners of the resources. And I believe that is what will enhance the work of PIAC and also lead to efficient management of our petroleum resources.
We always want to hear from you, our citizens, because you have a role to play in ensuring that you are managing your resources efficiently. So this is Time with PIAC, and today is a town hall meeting, and we want to hear from you, our audience. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, you can just drop them in the chat, and then we would read, and then if we have to respond to some of them, we will do that. But before we go to the questions, I'd like my gentlemen to do a little bit of accounting to us online. So I'll start with Mark. Petroleum revenues. How much have we gotten so far? And then somebody will tell us how we have used this.
I'm glad Sami made mention of accounting to the people and also getting the people to respond to how that accounting process or the utilization has been. And I want citizens to understand and know that it is a requirement of law under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. It's actually a requirement of the law. The second mandate, if you read it specifically, it says that provide a platform for citizens to debate. So it's a debate. You say your side, I hear you, I listen to you, I see my side, you hear and listen to me. Then it says that as to whether spending prospects are in line with your own development priorities. So it's a requirement of law. It's the reason why PIAC has provided, as Sami said, all these avenues to engage with you. And Sami, another thing I want to add is that, look, I will wish that I wake up one day and see that the citizens have taken ownership of PIAC.
Well, I would come in there, Mark.
They have taken ownership as in knowledge and in substance.
Yes.
That when PIAC speaks, it is not speaking for party A or party B or government A or government B. Because our name says what? The public interest. And some of you are a member. When you sit down around this table and you are jojoring over issues, I'm very sure that if you are MPP, you can bring MPP things here.
No.
If you are NDC, you can bring NDC things here.
No.
You are looking out for the interest of that your nephew that lives at Ahimak Kobe or Wale Wale or Paga or Aflau. You understand?
Yes.
That is what I'm very sure, and I know for a fact that that is what will be at stake at the end of the day. Every decision that will be taken will be based on that. Now, on the back of that, I want our viewers and listeners to know that over the period since December 2010 to December 2024, as a country, we've realized 11 in the neighborhood of 11.2 billion US dollars. 11.2 billion US dollars. But on year on year, it varies. We started with $400 million. We came in 2014, almost 1 billion US dollars. Then we hit another almost 1 billion US dollars in 2019. And then in 2022, that was when we had the highest revenue from petroleum, 1.4. Then in 2024, we had 1.3, almost 1.4, 1.35. But then, as Sammy, you will agree with me, this is just a fractional, when you compare it to mining. This does not even, you can't compare this to mining. Mining, we can have like $2 billion in a year. $1.5 billion in a year. But then, I am saying this to the point that petroleum revenue constitutes, on average, about 6% of total government revenue over the period that I've mentioned, from 2011 to 2024, 6%. And we are accounting to you on the back of the 6%. Now, the question you should ask yourself as a Ghanaian is that who is accounting to you on the back of the 94%? Who is doing that? Sammy, I'll leave that to you.
No, Sammy will not speak to the 94%. Sammy will speak to the 6%. For which reason we are here to account it. So Sammy, 11.21 billion.
Thank you. And I would want to, I think Mark raised a very important point when it comes to the composition of PIAC. And I want to situate viewers to know that they are members of PIAC.
Yeah.
First, we have the Ghana Association of Industries and Association of Ghana Industries and Chamber of Commerce. If you do a business and you are part of this particular Association of Ghana Industries or the Chamber of Commerce, it means you are a member of PIAC or you are part of the PIAC. There is also the Ghana, some people may be journalists thinking, how do I become a PIAC member or how am I part of PIAC? The Ghana Journalists Association has a member in PIAC. And so you are part of it. You may be neither a journalist or a commercial person or a business.
You have a chief, you have a criminal.
You have a church, maybe, or you are a Muslim.
Yeah.
We have the Ghana Association or the Christian Council, and also the Muslim groups have members as part of PIAC. You may be neither of these groups we've mentioned. You may have the Trade Union Congress, TUC, as part, they are part of PIAC. You may work as a civil society person, whether in the communities or you are in the national level. You are also a member of PIAC. And then the professional bodies, the Ghana Bar Association, the Institute of Chartered Accountant Ghana, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, and the think tanks which I represent, all of them have representation on PIAC. Maybe none of these you have ever been a member of or you even know them. In your communities, you have the National House of Chiefs have a member on PIAC.
Yeah.
The Association of Queen Mothers in Ghana have are members of PIAC. So you would notice that PIAC is an embodiment of citizens. And so wherever you are today listening to us, you should know that you are part of PIAC. And you need to ensure your views are heard. You can do that through any of these bodies that I have mentioned.
Yeah.
Where is the money? My host has asked.
Yeah, so tell us where the money is.
Over the years, we had done a very good job to decide on how we were going to spend petroleum revenues. And the spending of these petroleum revenues were supposed to be supported by our long-term national development plan. The example is, remember, our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, said, for us to develop, we need to have a vision. And the vision should be embodied in a long-term plan. And in the long term, we should have this and that. So we have clear targets and achievements that we need to achieve. So Ghana also has had this vision of having a long term. And so when the law was developed, we said, let us ensure that whatever we spend would be aligned to a long-term national development plan. Unfortunately, we have not seen a long-term national development plan in our days. We remember Vision 2020 in the 90s. I remember when I used to hear Vision 2020, I thought it would never come. 2020 will never come because we all thought the year 2000 was the end of the world. Calendars and everything was up to 2000. And so Vision 2020 seemed far away. Today we are past 2020. Unfortunately, that long-term plan or vision we had, I don't think it materialized as the aspirations had been stated in. And so in the absence of a long term, the law did not come silent at it. It said, you may have a medium term between 3 to 5 years plans. Ensure that whatever you spent is aligned with this. But then we also give even the minister the chance to select certain spending or priority areas. Where do you want to spend these monies? Select only 3 in every 3 or 4 years. Select 4 in every 3 years. And so over the years, the key sectors that have received a huge chunk of our monies have been the agricultural sector, the roads and railway sector, which I would rank almost number 1. And then infrastructure and service delivery in education and health. When we started, we had thought about even payment of our debt under the Ghana Gas program or Ghana Gas infrastructure. Over the years, these priority areas have been changed or recalibrated. Before we had health separate from education, but then we've noticed that these have been combined in recent years. Currently, as we speak, between 2023 to 2025, as the minister had suggested to Parliament and it had been approved, we have agriculture, including fisheries, physical infrastructure and service delivery in education and health, road, rail, and other critical infrastructure and industrialization. One of the key issues, even in the recent 2024, was that when it comes to infrastructure and procurement, always such monies provided by oil monies are spent. When they budget for 5 billion, they will spend the 5 billion, or maybe just a little bit to get up to 5 billion. But unfortunately, what we haven't seen is some of the huge potential impact over the 10 years or 15 years of ensuring that petroleum revenue has contributed to our lives. And so some of the few things we can mention, we know that we've invested significant amount of money in our free senior high school. I, as a personally, I would say that was a good thing because it's developing skills. And always when you develop skills, it is a long-term return, but it comes back to ensure it support the country. Whenever there is any innovation from those who have benefited from senior high school, their innovation will come back to Ghana and they will pay taxes in Ghana. We have also spent a lot of money on road, rails, and other critical infrastructure. I have a comment there. The road, rail, and other critical infrastructure monies have been spread thinly. Sometimes we have contributed oil monies to go and pay existing debts of a road that has been completed and has also started depleting. And we still send oil money there. In the health sector, we have always had as a priority area, but that particular health sector have struggled. Of course, there are some reasons that people may have mentioned that they used to depend a lot on donor funds. But today, donors have pulled their funds in the health sector. What do we do with that health sector? If we have the opportunity, we should use the money to build impactful projects, and then we should start with oil money and finish with oil money, because oil money is one of the most assured revenue. Every year, even though prices could collapse, every year we receive oil money. Imagine the 11.2 billion had been used to build 10 or 11 of Ghana Gas infrastructure. I'm using Ghana Gas because we know it was budgeted or built at $1 billion. You could have gotten 10 of Ghana Gas. We may not have been importing gas. I mean, these are some wild, guess I'm putting out there. What could 11 billion do over the last 10, 15 years? Could we have done something else that would have seen more impact than what we are seeing now? We have seen some of the monies used to be purchasing chairs into offices. Tiling offices.
Painting.
And so one of the key things we have to take notice, postponing your consumption of oil revenues is better than investing in current consumption. And so always we need to invest in critical infrastructure that will stay and ensure that our future generations come to meet that infrastructure. And let me make my last point. The Temamoto Way was built in the 60s. But you and I have come to benefit from the Temamoto Way. And so imagine this 11.2 billion was used to build an expressway like the motorway from Kumasi to Accra. Let's say we've invested all that money just to build that expressway and improve productivity of people moving from Accra to Kumasi. It could be any other region. It could be Accra to Takoradi. It could be Accra to Paga. But that could have been some of the impactful projects that we could talk about. And I want to end here with my host.
So Sami attempted to give us the perfect scenario of what we could have done with the 11.2. So Mark, what have we done? Are there some things we can actually point to and say that these projects were actually as a result of petroleum funds?
Jessica, as Sami was speaking, I was just thinking about this same question. I didn't know you asked me. To be honest with you, have I not been a staff of PIAC? It will have been difficult to answer this question. I'm being honest with you as a Ghanaian first. I can count on one hand, just on one hand, the projects that were started and completed with petroleum revenue, as Sami said, for the past 15 years. Asankragua to Enchi Road in the Western North. Kujokrom Railway from Takoradi to Kujokrom to Takwa. The Atuabo gas processing plant, that wasn't even started with petroleum revenue. We borrowed to start it and then paid with petroleum revenue. Terminal 3 of Kotoka International Airport. 30 million of petroleum revenue went into that. The free senior high school that Sami mentioned of.
You're struggling to...
as I said, if I don't work at PIAC, it will have been difficult. There are two main projects that I wish we complete, as in totally, with petroleum revenue. There's a dam around Boko called the Townhall Dam. When we complete it, it will be the biggest dam in Ghana. Townhall Dam. When we complete it, it will be the biggest dam in Ghana. You know, Achampon did the Tono Dam in Navrango. Mm-hmm. It was the biggest dam in Ghana for over 50 years. Till we started the Townhall Dam and then the Mpumim Dam in Central Region.
Yeah.
Another project, Jessica, I will want petroleum revenue to complete, but it started with petroleum revenue, is there's this fisheries college at Anomabo. I wish we complete that project today with petroleum revenue.
Because we've invested a lot.
A lot. Look, Tamale Dam alone, we've invested close to 60 million Ghana cedis. It's not completed. And when we went there, in fact, we were there just last year. And I was telling my team that, Sammy, we could have built so there's a slope. So the water comes, it flows, it goes through the slope, and then the irrigable area covers about 4 or 5 villages. And we could have built a mini hydro plant.
Even there. Power the area.
To power the area. So, forgive me to say, I'm an engineer. There's something we do, and I know you economists, you also do that thing. We call something system thinking. When you do system thinking, you think outside what you are doing into the next 50, 60 years. So you bring everything on board. This hydro dam that I am talking about, because it wasn't done in system thinking approach, we didn't even think of it. It could have carried the entire communities around. The water is just moving away. And there is that slope, you just put turbine, it turns the turbine, and it generates electricity. Anomabo Fisheries College to modernize our fisheries. So, Sammy, as you said, agriculture including fisheries.
A lot of the investment have got.
And that project started in 2014, 2015. Up till now, we've not finished that project. Why? School. It's just a school. That will mean that we'll finish and then recruitment can also stall the whole thing for 5 years. So, citizens, we are just telling you that we need, as Sammy said, we need to undertake monumental and monumental project that transcends generations. And that is what we at PIAC, we call legacy project. Railway from south to north. So that your grandmother in Paga, who is rearing guinea fowl, can take her guinea fowl, jump on a train, come to Kumasi, come to Techiman, come to Kentampo, come to Accra, sell and jump on the last train and go back the same day. You can stay in Wa and be working in Accra. You go and come every single day. You don't have to come and pay expensive rent here. That is what we are talking about.
So, gentlemen, I'll let you take a breather here, and then we'll attempt to now respond to the questions and then the comments that we received over the past week that we posted the flyer that we are going to have this town hall meeting. So, Sami, I want you to take the very first one. So, someone is asking, what is the difference between PIAC and PAC?
Okay, thank you. PIAC is Public Interest and Accountability Committee that is focused only on petroleum revenues. PAC is Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee is also a creation by law, and that Public Accounts Committee is also within the Parliament of Ghana, and they are to oversee all accounts as prepared by the Auditor General. So they oversee all accounts. So once the Auditor General does their report yearly, they provide the report to Parliament, and the Public Accounts Committee brings persons who have been found or agencies that have been found wanting to come and answer to the questions, whereby the justification of these adverse findings are not accepted. Persons are required to account for any losses that the country have made. So if you watch, or if under your watch there was irregularities that could not be accounted for, you, the agency or the head or the spending officer responsible, is supposed to pay. Unlike Public Accounts Committee, who have some powers like the police, that could even arrest you instantly. PIAC is not an investigative body or do not have such powers. PIAC deals with citizens and can only report to citizens, and at the same time report to Parliament and the executive. We don't have any recourse to or powers to ensure we arrest persons that have been found wanting or that have not been able to account for petroleum revenues very well. I would say this is the main difference between the two. Both committees have been set up by different legislations. PIAC is for the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, whilst PAC is a committee under Parliament. Yes.
So, Mark, I'll let you take the next question that we received. We will often see that new members of PIAC are sworn in by Ministry of Finance. So, is there some level or how independent is PIAC from political influence? Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Thank you, Jessica. And as Sami said earlier on, if you look at the composition of PIAC, PIAC members are selected by the respective constituents that they represent. So Sami here was independently selected by think tanks without influence from anyone. Let's say I am a member, say representing GJ. The Ghana Journalists Association will select me independently of even an influence from think tanks. So members are selected independently by the constituent that Sami mentioned earlier on, Ghana Journalists, TUC, Queen Mothers Association, National House of Chiefs. When they are selecting, they meet, they select. The Christian groups, it rotates from the Catholic Bishop Conference to the Christian Council to the Pentecostal and Charismatic groups. The Muslim groups, they have two main subgroups. The Federation of Muslims Association, and then Federation of Muslim Groups, and then the Muslim. Good. So they also do their own independent selection. The Queen Mothers, they meet. They have an association. They meet. You write to the president of the association. A meeting is convened, and then somebody, based on the more like the requirements of the job, somebody is selected. Now, the misconception here is that because of the issuance of the instrument of appointment, the law requires that when the members are selected, the government, through the Minister for Finance, should swear members in so we can issue what we call instrument of appointment to the members. The government, through the Minister for Finance, does not, and I'm repeating this, does not have the powers to reject the nomination of a member. It is only the committee, through a set criteria, that can write to the nominating institution or the nominating institution in its own wisdom. Or, if the unfortunate thing happens, probably mentally impaired, deaf, which we've had already, especially deaf, we've had already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And a member was replaced. So it is only the nominating institution, either acting on itself or PIAC. Especially, Sami is a member. Sami has not come for 3 consecutive meetings without any reason. PIAC has the right to write to think tanks to replace Sami. That he's not come for 3 consecutive meetings without any notice. We will not even ask Sami to provide a notice. Because when Sami was sworn in, he was issued with what we call rules of procedure. He has read it. He knows what he has to do. So, Jessica, PIAC is independent. But then I want to add, we also admit and know the risk that sits within. And the risk, we have internal and external risks. The internal risks are that the chair of PIAC at any point in time is the chief spokesperson of the committee. So we know that risk, that if you, at a point in time, elect a chair who is so politically exposed, that chair can undermine the work of the committee. We are mindful of that. Good thing is that we've not experienced that so far in our 15 years of existence. The second risk is members individually. We are mindful. Look, the Ghana Bar Association can nominate Justin Kodia to PIAC. PIAC cannot reject that. We cannot reject him simply because he is a MPP General Secretary. You understand? The chairman of NDC,
Sedun Ketia.
yes, Asedun Ketia, Honorable Asedun Ketia, can be nominated to come on PIAC. And PIAC cannot reject his nomination. So we are also mindful of this risk. You get the point? We are also mindful of this risk. But then we've put certain safeguards in place that, as I said earlier on,
Conflict of
I mean, you can be MPP, you can be NDC, but when you sit around this table to debate and take a decision, you can't bring your MPP or your NDC things to this table.
Yes.
And then the issue of if you you are a board member in another organization that reports to PIAC, you need to sign a conflict of interest form, and you need to absent yourself anytime a discussion is being had with regards to that institution. So Jessica, these are the way we've safeguarded our independence.
This one is safeguarding PIAC's independence. So, Benedict, Ali says, great submissions from the guests. Thank you very much, Benedict, for tuning in and then leaving your comments. So, Sami, another issue that has been in the news about PIAC quite recently has to do with your funding and the fact that we are no longer going to receive funding from the ABFA. I think one of the major newspapers actually ran a story, and it was their banner headline: "Government drops oil cash for PIAC." How is that going to affect your operations?
Thank you. I think maybe a historical perspective will be important before we go on to this. Over the years, PIAC was considered a legal creation, a legislative creation, or under the law. Before 2015, PIAC was under the Ministry of Finance when it comes to funding. After 2015, when the PRMA was amended, PIAC was put under the annual budget funding amount, which is the petroleum revenues allocated, even though we were not given any percentage or minimum percentage. And we were guaranteed funding from the petroleum revenues. Under this current government, they have amended the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. And the amendment is that they want to push a lot of the monies into big infrastructure projects. And during the amendment, whether it was an oversight or deliberate, we can't tell. But when PIAC met the president felt it was an oversight. That PIAC has been swooped away from the annual budget funding amount, which means we have been put back under the Ministry of Finance. I would say that as a result, we have to go through bureaucratic processes before we can access funding, even after our funding has been approved by the parliament. And so it has affected our operations. To some extent, even payment of salaries to secretariat staff. Is it a political tool intentionally used by government? I could say the risk remain higher. Is it a mere oversight? I could say yes, because the president said so. So one thing I would encourage the current government, in order to ensure PIAC's independence, it's reflected in the work that we do. I think we should be put back under the ABFA. PIAC was taking less than 0.6% of the ABFA, total ABFA money for their operations. And so if we can be put back under the ABFA, there is a clear procedure in accessing funds under ABFA, which is not the same as what the public financial management procedures are.
Yeah.
The ABFA have the PRMA ensures that payment to those who are under ABFA is swift and with clear timelines.
Yeah.
And so if PIAC, which is playing a key oversight role in the petroleum sector, probably also identifying certain losses and certain critical findings, is able to ensure that our work becomes quite swift and efficient, we need to be put under the annual budget funding amount. And this message goes to the president and it goes to the government of the day, so that it can guarantee PIAC. Maybe it is not deliberate. And so we don't want people to come out and say PIAC is being stifled under the current government. And I think the president said it is not like that. Yeah. So that is what I would say. But yes, it has affected our operations. Some of them include, we are supposed to engage citizens in the district. The whole of this year, the only citizens engagement we've been able to do have been funded by donors. Because we requested for monies and the monies delayed. And I understand it may have applied to other agencies, but there are specialized agencies which PIAC should also be a specialized agency as well. And so it has affected that work. Other engagement approaches or plans that we put in our budget have not been implemented.
Yeah.
And so we haven't been able to visit all the districts we had planned to visit. And I would encourage the government to ensure that our request is also seen to, even now that we are not under the ABFA, so that we can deliver more work before the end of the year. So I would say, yes, it could be a political tool, but I don't think government has deliberately utilized that particular political tool. I also encourage donors to ensure that whenever they have opportunity and they have interest to support PIAC, they should reach out to us, and we will be willing to work with the donors as well to ensure and also guarantee independence of PIAC and also citizens' interest under the oil and gas sector.
So before we wrap up in the next, I'm told I have less than 2 minutes to end my session for today. But before we do that, I'd just like to read this comment from Ernest Nana Odu, and he's watching us all the way from Koforidua, and he says that, I personally thank you very much for such an education. Thank you very much for your comments. And then we have another one. He says that, I completely agree that decision must be reversed in the next budget. I'm sure it's in relation to the comment on the PIAC funding. So thank you. We are very excited that we have people who are actually interested in what we are doing at PIAC, and then they're actually sharing their comments. But as we draw today's town hall to a close, I believe that you've learned a lot about PIAC and what we are doing, and what you as citizens as well can do to ensure that we are actually getting maximum impact from our petroleum revenues. But before we finally go, I'd like to give my gentlemen just 30 seconds each. Citizens are interested in what you are doing, but it looks like they don't really have access to information. So how are we going to cure that challenge? Because they need to get information to be empowered. So 30 seconds each as we wrap up. So
PIAC has what we call citizens version of the report. We also have a data dashboard on PIAC website. But I would say that always reach out through their Facebook, through WhatsApp, through Twitter, any information you need, and they'll be willing to provide that information immediately. Also, if you need to report on any of the projects that we've identified as petroleum revenue, do say. That way, Jessica will mention the numbers as well, so that you can call them. Thank you.
So, Mark?
Jessica, it's quite interesting to note that citizens are gradually taking ownership, as we've been advocating for, of PIAC. So they see themselves as PIAC and PIAC as themselves. I'm happy for that. And in that spread, as Sami said, we have ton of data on our website, and I'm sure you will mention the website to them. We have tons of data on our website, and we have a very interactive data dashboard. That's even if, let's say, if you are a researcher, you're a student, you are someone who is interested in just knowing what our petroleum industry is doing, and especially the revenue scheme of things, just go to our website. As Achan will, Miss Achampong will mention to you. Just reach out to us anytime we are available to respond to you as a Ghanaian. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Becker. He's a PIAC member representing think tanks, and I also had Mark O.A. Ajumanen. He's the head of the technical department at PIAC. And to you who joined us online, thank you very much for sending in your questions and then your comments. So there's this last one from Yao, and then he says that, Jessica, you're looking fabulous. Thank you very much, Yao, for the compliments. So this is where we draw the curtain, and then as always, we remain open to your questions and your comments. So you can connect with us via any of our channels on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X. You can also send us a WhatsApp on 055-441-6544. We also invite you to visit our website, www.piaghana.org. Continue to engage with us, and then collectively we'll continue to ensure that our petroleum revenues are prudently managed for maximum impact. So until we come your way with our special edition next month, in fact, PIAC will be 14 years next month. So we have a special time with PIAC edition marking our 14th anniversary. So do make a date with us on the 24th of September at 1 p.m. here on Facebook. Until we come your way then, please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I'm Jessica Echampon.